Welcome to NonnasHere. I'm Nonna, and this is Craft Your Stash, a craft collaboration. And I'm really happy that you stopped by and joined me today. This is going to be fun. I've made 3 craft projects, and I have to be honest, the first one was somewhat of a fail. But being a true crafter, I pushed through and tried to make it work. So I'll show you what I've been working on. But before I do, let me introduce our host for today's Craft Your Stash. First we have Crafting My First Life with Lisa. And we also have Catherine by A Perfect Place to Start. Now I'll have both of the links to their channels down below and the links to all the other creators who are joining in today. Now, Craft Your Stash is where we can go and get into all of our supply stash, which is what I've done, and do our projects. And I'll tell you, I'm doing fall. Now, I know a lot of other people are going to be doing Christmas, but I still have a lot of fall in my stash. So I'm doing fall projects today. I love fall, and I especially love November. Now, I know this is the end of October, but November is coming up, and that's my anniversary, 52 years, and my birthday, 75 years. So I'm doing fall. So if you're looking for some fun, easy, and budget-friendly fall projects, you've come to the right place. And I want to thank Lisa and Catherine for hosting Craft Your Stash for October. All right, enough chatting. By the way, if you enjoy their videos, be sure and give them a thumbs up. And feel free to subscribe to any of their channels too. You know it's free. And I'd love it if you'd subscribe to NonnasHere. Just hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell and the word all, so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. I do all kinds of videos, shopping hauls like Temu and Dollar Tree, more craft videos, subscription box unboxings, makeup tutorials, all kinds of fun things. And then at the end of this video, be sure and comment and tell me which one of my projects was your favorite. All right, that's it. Let's get over to my craft table and I'll show you what I've been working on. Craft Your Stash project number 1. Now this is the one that started out really badly. So I have all these pumpkins left over in my stash. So I'm going to take the Waverly chalk paint in Snow White and paint the orange ones white. Some of them I got decorative picks, and some of them I have they're on clips, but I'm going to take the clips off. Got them all at Dollar Tree. And I've already stuck picks in the bottom of most of them. So I'm going to paint them all white because I'm going to try and marbleize them. You know, you've seen how they take water and they put nail polish over the top and then they marbleize them. Well, what I didn't know was you're supposed to use gel, not nail polish. And I just had some old nail polish, most of which was not gel, and it was old nail polish. And when I put it in, some of it just sunk to the bottom. And then they said take a pick and stir it around. Well, when I put a pick in there, all the nail polish stuck to my long pick. But some of it stayed on the top, but some of it just sunk to the bottom. So when I put my pumpkin in, it wasn't coming out exactly marbleized, but I didn't give up. So I tried the next pumpkin. Well, by now, most of the nail polish was on the bottom of the bowl, which is not what was supposed to happen. If you watch people doing it the right way, all the nail polish is floating beautifully across the top of the water. So now I'm adding more nail polish. I had brown and light brown and that beautiful blue, and I even had some purpley color, things that I think of as fall colors. That's a lighter brown. And so now I'm just trying to get it across to lay across the top of the water. And now I'm not going to stir it as much. Okay, that's kind of a white. That white did really nicely. The blue did really nicely. It laid across the top of the water. That did nicely. And the purple did nicely. The purple nail polish. See how it sticks to the pick? So now I'm not going to stir it as much as I'm just going to try and get it to gather. And I'm still trying to dip. Well, that one caught a lot of color. But once I dip one, most of the nail polish is gone, but some of the nail polish is along the sides. So I'm taking the pumpkin, and the smaller pumpkin, and I'm trying to catch any of the nail polish that's still at the top. So now I'm going to try it again. I put some of that blue, and it seems to stay on top of the water. And I'm going to take some of the white, and it stays on top of the water real nice. See, that's how it's supposed to look if you're doing it right. So now I'm not going to stir it as much as I'm just going to try and get the colors together in the same area. And you can see there's some purple in there too. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a pumpkin and I'm just going to try and chase that color across the top. Not dip it as much as just try and catch it. See, turn it around and catch it. And that's doing better. Don't dip it, Nonna. Just try and catch the color. So I do that. So finally I get enough pumpkins covered that I have them. Now this isn't really, they're really supposed to look marbled, but you get the general idea. So now I have these pumpkins and I've got a lot covered, okay? And they're looking pretty nice. Now nail polish eats into the styrofoam. So some of them are looking really eaten into. But that's all right. Right there, that's one. I figured that just gives it textured, and I'm keeping them because I'm an artist. Ha ha. And that's just the way it is. So those are the pumpkins that I've tried to... Oh, that one's really eaten into. I'm going to use it for the next project. Craft Your Stash project number 2. All right, so I got to do something with all of those pumpkins. So I have this wreath, and I always have these kind of wreaths in my stash. So, and I have this silver dollar eucalyptus string vine. And I've got 2 long vines, so I've doubled them. And I'm going to use them to cover the styrofoam wreath for, okay? Because what I was going to do with those pumpkins isn't going to work originally because, they didn't exactly marble. But I still want to use them for something. So there I've used my eucalyptus, silver dollar shaped eucalyptus. And also in my stash, I have these blue leaves and a bundle of them. See the leaves, and some of the leaves have white pumpkins on them, and some of them are just plain leaves, and some of them are long leaves. There's one with a little white pumpkin on them. Some of them have berries on them. I have a whole bunch of these left over from other projects that I've done with blue leaves, okay? So I'm going to use those because the pumpkins have a lot of that real pretty blue on. So I've taken the leaves and I've stuck them into the wreath form and filled it all in, and then taken the pumpkins and filled in the empty spots and just made a blue wreath with all the pumpkins. And it really came out really pretty. See, I just put all the pumpkins in there. Then I went back and hot glued the pumpkins in, the picks in, so that they're in there good and steady and tight. I made that video go kind of fast. What I was saying was I went back and I hot glued all of those picks where the pumpkins were on the end and glued them in really tight so that the pumpkins were in tight into the styrofoam wreath form. And then I made a hanger out of a real pretty blue silk ribbon. And we'll take a better look at it at the final reveal. I had just stuck the leaves in, cut the leaves down and stuck them in to the styrofoam wreath, and then looked at it and made sure there weren't any empty spots. Okay, Craft Your Stash project number 3. This one went a little bit better. To start with, I had this thin round wood piece that I had gotten on Temu, and it already had the 2 holes at the top. And I'm going to use this deep brown acrylic paint, and I'm going to use this little round piece of gold cardboard that I'd gotten at Dollar Tree in a craft for kids that my granddaughter had used, and there were some extra gold little pieces of cardboard. And then I'm going to use one of these rub-on transfers, these gorgeous rub-on transfers that I got from Temu. There were like 5 long sheets of different transfers, and they were just gorgeous. I've used a couple of them. You can see I've cut them apart, and I picked out one of them that has sunflowers, that the sunflowers that match exactly the gold in that little piece of cardboard. And then I have this beautiful sunflower wired ribbon that I also got from Temu that I'm going to use. And I have some Mod Podge that I'm going to use to glue the cardboard piece onto the wooden round. And then I have some, it's called pumpkin acrylic paint that I'm going to use. And the first thing I'm going to do is to paint the round with the deep brown acrylic paint. Give it a good coat, and then I'm going to use the Mod Podge and go around the edge and kind of mix the brown and the gold together, the pumpkin together, and then take a smaller brush and make little doodads that kind of look like sunflower petals around the whole edge of the round, okay? First I do a brown and gold little edge, and then take a small brush and do sunflower petals all around the edge. Now I'm going to take the Mod Podge and I'm going to glue down that little gold circle in the middle of the round and get that sealed down really well. And after I do that, and get it all centered, I'm going to have, it's hard, I get it down and then I put Mod Podge around the edges to make sure I get it down. I'm going to take my transfer and put the transfer in the middle of the gold circle and rub on the transfer. I got a little bit of Mod Podge around there, but don't worry. Okay, so now I'm rubbing the transfer on, and I want to make sure that I got all the little edges rubbed on because there's a lot of detail in the little transfer. And I pull off the transfer top, and there it is. And these transfers are beautiful. They actually look like paintings. They really do. They're quite beautiful. So I have that done. Now I need to make a bow, and I'm the world's worst bow maker. So I take that, I put some, actually these little rounds actually came with the twine to make a hanger. So all I'm doing is I'm taking a piece of the ribbon, I'm folding it in 2, and then I'm folding it in half, and I'm going to scrunch it together and take a piece of twine and tie it tight to make a bow. Real simple. And then I'm going to cut a piece of the ribbon and put it over the middle and make 2 tails. There's my piece of twine. I'm going to tie it over the middle, tie it real tight, scrunch it together, and make a little bow. Of course, it took 2 or 3 times for me to see how big the bow should be. So when I got it to the sides to be as big as I wanted it to be, then I just, Made it like that. Okay, so now I'm going to make 2 tails. Cut that off. All right. Now I'm going to hot glue that all down so it looks like it's all one piece, like I'm a real bow maker, a real expert bow maker, which I'm not. Lay it down real nice so it'll look real pretty. And then I'm going to hot glue that to the top. And then I'll dovetail the edges of the tails. Hot glue it to the, see, doesn't that look nice? Doesn't that look like I'm an expert bow maker, which I'm not? And it's all finished. And we'll take another look at it at the final reveal. That came out real cute. That was real easy. And I didn't mess it up once. There we go. Real cute. Okay, it's time for the final reveal, but first I want to thank again Lisa for crafting my best life and Catherine for a perfect place to start for hosting this collaboration and allowing me to participate, and thanking all my fellow creators for joining in today. Don't forget to check out everyone's video and giving them a thumbs up for all their hard work. All right, craft your stash, final reveal. And don't forget to comment down below about which one of my projects is your favorite. Project number 1 was the pumpkins, which started out as a fail, but I pushed through and made it. And then I made it into a wreath using blue leaves and berries and eucalyptus leaves, and then adding the pumpkins in there. I don't think it came out so badly. I kind of like it. And I put a blue silk ribbon on the top for a hanger. And then my third project was the little round using the transfer. I painted it brown, used an orange round in the middle, and with the sunflower transfer, and then the sunflower ribbon with all the right colors that matched it perfectly. That's it from NonnasHere. Hope to see you again soon. Bye.